This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to see everybody here. Every week, I'm going to start out by saying we've got a lot to cover, and we do. So we've got the recording started. That'll give us a video topic index where you can refer back to and say, oh, I know we talked about updates someplace. I've got it written out in that video topic index, and by starting the recording right on time, we'll be able to get that pretty close to the minute or to the second. We've got a quorum. Virtually everybody's here that signed up. I'll get through the material. The fact that you're here is our primary goal this morning, to make sure you could get my emails and log into the meeting. I maybe want to take a quick sound check. Brian Cox, can you hear me? You'd have to unmute to say yes. And I'm going to go alphabetically through the list of attendees and see if I can get everybody to acknowledge that they're actually here, just so that I know your mic is muted, not mutable and unmutable. Brian, no response yet. Cody, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And you found the unmute button. And now I'll ask you to mute again and ask Dave if he can unmute and say hi.
Yes, I can. I hear you.
I can hear you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Drew, you hear me? Drew Wilson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for being here. John, can you unmute and just say hi?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Fantastic. Mike, your turn.
Yep, I'm here.
And Philip, you're out your P you wouldn't think would be the end of the alphabet. For our group, it is.
Okay. Yep. Here I am.
There you are. Brian, any chance you can unmute and say hi? No, but I do see we have a caller one, which is one of the first couple of slides. So also, if you totally can't get your mic to go for any reason, I'll remind you that there's the chat, and we're going to use that in just a little bit also. So first thing is that you found the mute button, you were unmuted. Generally, if you keep your mic muted, the recording will come out a lot cleaner. I also found, at least on my computer, if I push the space bar, I can unmute without having to actually find that button. So that's another way you can pop in. I do want this to be a very interactive class. We've got a very nice class size to allow for that. So as we're going, if you have a question, just unmute and pop in. And like I said, someone has called in. They're identified on the phone as caller one, but there's that phone number that I sent you in the email for the invite. You can have the regular meeting for the video and a phone connection at the same time. So don't hesitate if you're having trouble with your headset or your microphones. We're going to use the chat, and that's another button that if you click, a chat window comes up. I'm going to go put some questions in there and just try to get to know you a little bit better and get an idea where we're going. First question I'm going to have for you is what version of Revit will you plan to use for class? Give me a second and I'm going to put that in the chat. So this is the question. I'm going to go here to get a link for that. Question one, get a link and shorten it up and copy it, and I'll put it in the chat over here. So if you look in the chat, you should be able to just click on that link and you'll see a survey that says you're planning to use Revit 23, 24, 25, or 26. I left other, but I'm hoping all the answers come back in that range between Revit 23 and 26. While I'm giving the responses just a little bit to pile up, I'm going to say I'm going to do all of my demo work and all of my class work, I'm going to send out in Revit 2023. All right. I have a caller 1 and a caller 2. Caller 2 just popped in, and you may want to mute your mic just to get a little less background noise. Still a couple of more folks I would hope to answer that question. But Revit is compatible forward. I'll make this point while we're waiting. So that if I do my work in 2023 and you're using 2025, it'll just do an upgrade and you can use it. But it does not go the other way. So if I did my work in 25 and you were using 23, you just get a very obnoxious message that says, sorry, that's too new. I can't open it. And they're serious. You can't. It's unfair. It seems mean. It is what it is. So it's something that you should be aware of. I'm going to click on caller 2 and mute them, and then see if that quiets it down. Good. I think we've got a legitimate number of responses. There's still 3 or 4 people that haven't found that link just yet, but let me share the responses with you. So, cool, and I'm guessing when I say how much of experience do you have, the folks that are using Revit 26 will have maybe less experience because that's the one version on their machine so far. But it's a good mix, and I will do my work in 2023. I could have responded to add that as well. But it'll be usable by everybody that's responded, 24, 25, and 26. Let me give you another one, another quiz question here. So how much experience do you have using Revit? And if I go back here, I can go get that other question. So I'll let you study those for a second, like hardly any, a whole lot, none. They're all legitimate answers. Let me copy that and put that in the chat and see if we can get folks to click on that link and answer. We'll see if we have any macho stud peller heads in the class. I will that the class is built for any level of experience. So if you have no experience in Revit at all, this class was intended for you. So not to worry if that's the case. Good, we got at least one more response this time. I'll go ahead and share those. So 2 to 5 years, that's a fair amount of experience. We do have at least one macho stud propeller head. Welcome. And those of you in the blue there that say you've got no experience, I think this is going to be just as much fun for the macho stud propeller head as it is for you, and vice versa. But it's good to know that we have a variety of Revit experience here. I got another one for you. One more before we get back to the other slides. So what is the software that you're currently using? So you might already be on Hydratec for Revit, but you're likely moving from some other platform. So let me get a link to that question for you and put that up here. Okay, so there's a third link in the chat. Just click on it. Let me know where you fall in that batch, and then we've got some more slides to get to. Okay, let's see where that got us. Okay, so this is my chance. Most of you have, the majority have experience in HydroCAD for AutoCAD. That's a good thing to kind of know something about Hydra. But I've got to warn you all, everything you know in AutoCAD, you can do in Revit. But the reason they named it Revit is that it's the reverse of it. So you'll need to leave a lot of the muscle memory behind. You're used to saying do this to that, and now you've got to say to that do this. But it'll serve you well. And welcome to those of you that have been using AutoCAD all by itself, those that have been on SpringCAD, and the fellow that has none of that experience from before. Let's get back to our slide stuff here. Where we're going is we're going to learn Revit, not by saying here's a command, here's a command, here's a command, but we're going to take a little 60 by 80 foot building and we're going to model it, create a sprinkler system for it, and we're going to document it, get that sprinkler system on a piece of paper. None of it counts if you can't submit it. Then we're going to calc it and we're going to list it. So we'll have exposed ourselves to the basics of everything you need out of that you've been getting out of a CAD system that we're going to get out of the Revit system. I'll assign a homework assignment about halfway through, and we'll just keep reviewing as we go along. And I really hope to make this as interactive as possible. I want to give you a working knowledge of the basic Revit tools as well as the basic HydroCAD for Revit tools. HydroCAD for Revit is an add-on to Revit. We didn't replace it. We didn't do it over. We just said it'll get you a long way there. But if you're doing sprinkler systems, some tools specific to sprinklers is really, really helpful. I will, along the way, try and tell you how it's the reverse of AutoCAD. So I'll acknowledge those differences between AutoCAD and Revit. I guess I just want to maybe summarize the rest of this by saying I went and counted. The way Revit works is with ribbons and buttons on ribbons. That's the same way that Excel works. It's the same way that Word works. It's the same way that PowerPoint works. There's ribbons across the top, and you can change the ribbons, and on each of those ribbons is buttons. I counted all of the buttons and found 400 Revit buttons in the Revit application. I then counted again and said, we don't need that. We don't need that. We don't need that. Oh, there, we could use that one. So of all the 400 Revit buttons, there's about 40 that are particularly useful for drawing a sprinkler system. And then HydroCAD for AutoCAD, a Hydratec for Revit added 40 more. So there's about 80 buttons for us to learn. And still, I'm not going to go say, here's the first of 80 buttons, here's the second. We're going to actually learn them by drawing that sprinkler system. So this is a picture of the thing we're going to be working on, that 60 by 80 foot warehouse. You can see we're going to work primarily with AutoCAD backgrounds. So Mythbusters, you don't have to wait for the rest of the world to be on Revit before you use Revit for your sprinkler system. And if you get a AutoCAD background like we're going to use, you lay it flat as a pancake on the ground, and we're going to look at a plan view. We're going to be looking at it from the top and model our sprinkler system, but it will be a 3D sprinkler system, and we can simply switch views and look at it in 3D and get something that looks kind of like this. Besides modeling it, we're going to document it. So we're going to put it on a piece of paper, and that piece of paper could include a 3D view. It could include a floor plan, a section view, and then notes and details and schedules and stuff. So I will show you that quick a little bit later today. And that's where we're headed Thursday and Tuesday and Thursday and Tuesday. the way the classes are going to work is I'm going to send you out an invitation and materials to follow along. This morning I sent you an invitation, but no materials. Wednesday night I will send materials to follow along on Thursday. So today is mostly watch and listen to Al click along, and then on Thursday it's going to be I'm getting one of you guys to do the driving, and we'll go along with that. So I send you the stuff in the morning, then we do the meeting, then I record the meeting and send you that recording and the rest of the materials that we worked on the day, and then on Thursday, this Thursday, I'll send you files to work along on Thursday. We'll do the meeting on Thursday and I'll record it. I'll send that out Thursday, and then Tuesday we'll repeat it. We're going to do that 5 times. So I sent you an email yesterday that related to access to all of the materials from roughly 8 weeks ago. When you go to log in on that thing, it's going to say, what's your username? That's the email that you use. What's your password? And you don't know. I don't know. So you got to pick forgot password. You'll get an email and you can log in. But I want to take you in there actually and show you the recording, a recording like the one we're making right now, and the video topic index, the list of things that we talk about and how to make use of that thing. So this is essentially the email that I sent you a couple of days ago, and it has some words and an invitation to the meeting, but there's a place where it says, click here to view this folder. And I sent you a folder of all the files from like 8 weeks ago. So I'm going to click on that thing to let it open. And here's where you have to put in a password. And I'm saying the first time you do it, forgot password, and you can reset that. Mine obviously is in there from the last time I used this. And that gets me to this folder. You'll have access to exactly the same folder. So it's all the material from the basic class number 2. We're in class number 3. There's materials for the kickoff meeting, then lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and there's a place to upload. There will be a place to upload homework. So I'm going to use as an example lesson 1 and show you the video topic index. That's the one that ends at TXT, and the audit and the video itself. So in the video topic index is a list of all the stuff we did modeling a sprinkler system. This viewer does some word wrapping, so it's a little hard to read. You can read it easy enough, but you don't have to if you just go ahead and download that thing over here and then click on the downloaded file. The formatting's just better. Same stuff, just better formatting. And in here, I'm gonna focus on, this is stuff to get started, and then how to put in an AutoCAD background, and then how to space the sprinklers, and then how to do some piping and stuff. And I'm just going to draw your attention to, there's a place where we're going to use the PI command for pipe to create a main, a riser, and an underground. And that's at 2 hours and 5 minutes and 7 seconds into the video. So armed with that information, I can go right to, how did he do that main anyway? So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to back up to that list of files that I got, and I'm going to open the video. I've got my sound on, so
This conference will now be recorded.
Al's going to yell at you just a little bit there. But I'm down here at the bottom is a little scroll bar, and I'm going to scroll over to 2 hours and 5 minutes and 7 seconds. I'm actually going to go to 2:07. I cheated and looked at this last night. The first 2 minutes was like oops, we didn't do that quite right. So we started over at 2 hours and 7 minutes. So I'm clicking there, and I'll play that. Mains welded, perfect. And the diameter we want to be 4-inch. And the height we want to be 17. And just look in the properties box and verify that the system type is fire protection something. There it is. Excellent. Okay, now start over again just below column 3. Go over just shy of column E. Go about halfway down to the column 1. Then change the elevation to 2 feet. Okay. Mike, you get the idea?
Yep.
And could you hear the audio? I shared that for an unusual.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you already have access to that, and you can look back at it. So there is also when you go to that link, it takes you to ShareFile, and in ShareFile, when you're logged in, it's possible to download an app. ShareFile for Windows. I'll just point it out to you. It's not required. I will always send you links to those folders. But if you download and install that app, then when and if you open Windows File Explorer, you'll have an additional disk drive. And on that disk drive, I've got my basic classes as a favorite. You'll have fewer files because you haven't been to all these classes. But here's basic 2. This is in Windows File Explorer, exactly what we were looking at in that link before. So you can copy and paste files from here. The upload will be you can copy into that. All of these will be copy out of that. So that's handy, and I just wanted you to know about it. It's not required. When you're when you go to that link that I showed you there, which will be in the email, you can get either the MSI install or the executable install, and that's what will give you that functionality. I'm going to go quick on this slide. The latest install automatically takes you as part of the install, and if your IT department installed, they hopefully did this for you. But if you get into Revit and you do not see HydroCAD, HydroCalc, HydroList, those are the 40 buttons that we added to the 400 buttons that Revit has, then leave Revit, open the Windows File Explorer and go to C, HES Hydratec for Revit Programs. Find the program that says Hydratec Revit Add-in Assistant. Right-click on it and say Run as Administrator. You'll get this dialog box. You can pick Add, Add, Add. No reason not to do all 3 of them. And Apply. Then when you go back into Revit, you will find those 3 ribbons. We do updates, and there's a pretty cool update in the offing. So I think before our class is over, when you open either HydroCAD, HydroCalc, or HydroList, you will see this button that says Update Available. You can ignore it as long as you want, but you know that there's an update available. If you click on it, it'll insult you and say, "Oh, your programs are out of date. Click here to download." If you do that, you're just downloading the install for the update. You're not actually updating. And you'll need to leave Revit, go run that install, come back in. The update button will be gone, and you'll be up to date. That tells you when there's a update. You can also tell what's in the update and what version you have by hovering over the Help button, and it'll tell you what version you're on. And if you click on the version history, it'll give you a list of the features that are added at each one, so you know when, what, and how to get that update. On that same Help pull down in the Revit menu is Help Videos, and if you were to do the Help pull down and click on Help Videos, for instance, in the search, you could type update and you'd find a video on what I just told you about. So although it's organized, by category, these help videos, I think I find usually is easiest to just guess a name. We've cross-linked them as many ways as we can think of. Each of the videos is 5 to 15 minutes long, and I try and summarize what we're going to talk about in that video in the first minute or two. So you don't have to sign up for 15 minutes just because you click on a video. Also, really, really important that the training we're doing is a way to get you started. However, you've got those 40 new Hydratec buttons, and there is help for every one of them. If you simply hover over one of the Hydratec buttons and you hit the F1, on a laptop, sometimes you have to hit FN first, down in the lower left-hand corner, and then hit F1 because that key does double duty. But when you hit F1, it'll bring up help for that button. And the help has a summary, it's got a video, and it's got detailed instructions. And also at the very bottom of it, it's got help for how that button doesn't work. So if you see down here where it says HydroCards troubleshooting, if you ever get an error, mentally back up one step and say, I got this error. What's the last button that I pushed? What was I trying to do that gave me this error? Hit F1 on that, hover over that button, hit F1, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and click here for troubleshooting, and it'll give you a list of the ways that that button doesn't work, why that doesn't work, and how to fix it. We've got just interesting thoughts. You can learn just by watching the presentation. So you could sit here with your hands folded and just absorb, and then later go back and practice what we absorbed. The video topic index is handy for that. Or you can download the files that I'm covering that I'll be going over. This will be Wednesday night. I'll send you those files. And Thursday, you can load the same files I'm loading or we're loading as we're going over the class material, and you can follow along. You could also watch the class 1 recording from 8 weeks ago and use that to either better just watch or to follow along, but you've actually seen it once before that. I am going to ask to see if there's anybody willing to drive. I'm gonna drive today through the PowerPoints, and I'm gonna do that 60 by 80 foot building, just a quick preview of it. But on Thursday, I'm gonna ask Brian or John or Dave or Philip if they'd like to drive, and I'll talk them through it, and that kind of helps the pace all along. But I think the best way you can do this is the very next project you work on, make use of these lessons and use these tools on that project while it's fresh in your memory. Couple more survey questions. Let me crank them back up. So survey question 4. Question 4 was, what do you hope to get out of this? So I'll let you study those a minute, and I'm going to go get the link queued up and put that in the chat. So you came for that last slide. I said, use it on your very next project. So answer number 1 is you plan to use this on your next project and the next and the next and all the rest from now on. Other folks might be here just to get an idea of what Revit is and use this on a special project that's coming up. And some of you might just want to know what it's all about, and this is interesting, but we'll wait until some future date to actually put it to work. And I was a little tongue-in-cheek when I said, you don't really care to be here at all, but your boss said take the class. Let's see how that shakes out for you guys. Let's see where my mouse is. There it is. Okay, so 55% is doing what I was hoping. You're here to actually get going and do this all the time. that 22% of you are just a little bit under the gun. There may be this special project, and you've got to go use it on that. And then we do have somebody that their boss put them up to showing up. Good deal. Let's go back and get question 5. No, I'm sorry. I made up these questions, and they're good questions, so I'm going to go ahead and share them all. Shorten the thing, copy, and send that along to you. So listen and watch at the same time. Listening and watching what the instructor presents, and then just practice later. Second option is watch and do it while the instructor is doing it. Take lots of notes and study it and do it. And then some people learn best just by pushing all the buttons and see what happens. I'd say that the rare student actually looks ahead, reads the material before we even do it, and then maybe even critiques it as we go along. I'll go ahead and share those responses, even though we're a couple short. Good. So I think I almost could have predicted this. Most people learn best by doing it at the same time everybody else is doing it, and the class is really set up to handle that well. So that's a good alignment for us. I'm just gonna there's one more question. I'm interested to know if we have folks that are interested in not just following along, but being the one that's driving, and I will guide you specifically, so you'll be following along with what I'm guiding you through. And some folks will jump at that chance, and other folks would rather sit in the background a little bit. So I'm anxious to see if I have anybody that will jump at the opportunity and love the chance to actually draw that 60 by 80 foot building with instructions that I've got for you. So I'm going to get those responses down here. And if you are willing to drive, if you're the guy that'll jump at the opportunity, please, I'm going to put my email address, or you could respond to any of those emails I've sent you. Just say, yes, I'm willing to do it, and tell me what version of Revit you're using. But even if you're willing to give it a try, folks, send me that email and say, I'm willing to give it a try. And I'll get you leading the parade, getting stuff done. Very good. I think we're pretty near the end of these things. I just love this slide so much, I have to put it up, but I'll just say, just sitting in the background and listening, you're going to learn about 5%. If you jump in and ask questions, you do a lot better. So group discussions help 50%. And if you practice while you're doing it, and most of you said that's the way you like to learn, you'll get 75%. That's pretty darn good. And the best news in this slide is for me. I'm teaching it, so I get to retain the biggest portion of what we're covering. One last thing, it's not a test, not an academic exercise. This is a chance for you to really learn these tools on a real job. I hope you'll go find that job now and use it on that. With that, I'm going to skip those last two questions, and there's my email address. Any quick questions? I have something else. I've got a half an hour thing that I've left myself 25 minutes for now. But any questions on where we're going, how you're going to get there, what materials you're going to have to work with? Anyone? All right. John, you with me?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Cool. Would you be up for hanging around for another 25 or 30 minutes and watch that 60 by 80 foot building get built in Revit?
Sure.
Then I'm going to do that. So I've got a quick demo. I'm going to open Revit 2023. And when I do this, I'm going to create a project, And that project I can share with you. And those of you that are using 24 will get upgraded from 23 to 24. Those of you using 26, you'll get upgraded from 23 to 26. Once you use it and save it in 26, you couldn't send it back to somebody that was using 2024. They would get an obnoxious message that said, sorry, this is in too new a version. So this is Revit when it first opens. I'm going to pick new and I'm going to start with a template. We're going to set up this as our standard template, Hydratec Imperial, blah, blah, blah. But I've made a copy of that template. Oh my gosh, I'm in 23 and the copy that I made is disappeared. All right, so I'm going to use this. That's metric. That's terrible. It disappeared. I'm going to go browse for this. Oh, I know what happened. I'm going to go browse for this other template that already has the toolbox built into it. So HES, basic. We'll all have this basic folder coming up. And in here, I put that template. There it is. All right. The standard way to start a new project is with a template, and then the next thing to do is to open and import the latest toolbox. The template has all good stuff in it, and the toolbox has even better later stuff in it. So I did that earlier. I created the template or I opened the template. I imported the toolbox, and I saved that. I saved it as a new template, and a template plus the toolbox. So I've got this template plus the toolbox. The toolbox has things like pipe types and fittings and annotations, like specific notes and stuff. This one also has some details in it, some 2D details. Next thing I'm going to do is import an AutoCAD background. So I'm going to go to a Revit tool, insert, link a CAD, link an externally reference or insert an AutoCAD background. Those are the same in Revit, except it's called link rather than external reference. And I've got this AutoCAD drawing of the background of the 60 by 80 foot warehouse. And if I zoom out, it didn't line up exactly. I could move it up to line up with my crosshairs, but I'm going to move the crosshairs to move up with, to line up with where that AutoCAD drawing came in. The advantage to my moving my crosshairs is if somebody else is working on that same background, I didn't move their work. I moved my reference. So I've got an AutoCAD background to work against. I'm going to go start by putting in some sprinklers. So I'm going to go to Hydratec, spacing and layout. This is like Bay Space on steroids, from AutoCAD for Hydratec for AutoCAD. I'm going to use upright heads directly connected to the branch line. I'm going to make sure that it inserts those branch line pipes and the fittings along with the sprinklers. And then I've got some sprinklers that came in that template. Otherwise, I've got a list of 30,000 sprinklers I could draw from here. I'm going to use this reliable upright, and I'm going to use a density of 0.15, a pressure of 7, 130 square feet, and don't go over 15. That's not the answer, but don't go over. It's the constraint on line spacing and head spacing. If I don't like that, I want to change it 6 inches at a time. So it's going to come up with a suggestion, and I'm going to be able to adjust it 6 inches at a time. I'm going to use welded branch lines, 1.25 inches. I'm going to put them at 19 feet. My building is 20 feet tall. And since I've chosen to directly connect, this stuff relates to the sprig, I'm not going to bother with this stuff. Now I can pick a room if I have a Revit background and rooms are defined. I'm going to pick 2 points since this is an AutoCAD background. And I'm going to say use that as one corner of this bay, and up here at column line B, I'm going to pick that as the other corner, and it's suggesting a layout for me. 12 feet, 12 feet, 12 feet, 12 feet, and across the top is 5, 10, 5. That 12 feet happens to get like right in the middle of that joist. If I click on just north of the tick mark, then that row of sprinklers moves 6 inches. So now I'm out of there, and I've got 12'6" and 11'6". That's good. If I zoom out, I can pick the green check mark, and I could do this repeatedly, or I can pick a window around that stuff and copy or mirror it. I'm going to mirror it about this column, and I'm going to mirror all of that about the middle column there. And then I'm going to leave these sprinklers over the top of that ceiling, but I am going to put sprinklers, pendant sprinklers in that ceiling. So I'm going to go back to spacing and layout. And here I already have pipes that I can connect into. So I'm going to turn those pipes off. I'm going to do pendant sprinklers. It doesn't matter what orientation I choose because I'm only doing the sprinklers. And I'm going to pick a recessed pendant out of my list and put that at the ceiling height is 8 feet. My branch line height I'll put at 9 feet. Oh, I think none of this counts because I'm doing just sprinklers, but this determines the available spacing. I'm going to constrain it to 15 by 15. That's not the answer, just a constraint. And the max coverage is 225. Then I can't pick a light or a grid. Those are only recognizable as Revit objects, but I can pick 3 points to say I'm doing that room, and I want the sprinklers lined up in that ceiling tile. That's usable, but I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to move this over just to be a little bit more out of the light pattern and to give myself some room for arm overs. I will go ahead and accept that. And now I need to connect those into the branch lines. So I've got a configure head button that says go down, over, and down. Use arm overs to welded lines, 1-inch pipe. Measuring up from the head, I'm going to go a foot. So I'll go up a foot, over, and then up into the branch line. And I'm going to use this flexible sprinkler connection with a bracket. I'll make it 3 feet long. And then I'm going to connect a head, this head into that pipe, this head into that pipe, this head into that pipe, and this head into that pipe. And escape, escape, escape. If I click on the bracket, I can turn the bracket so that it lines up with the ceiling grids. And we've got branch lines. I've got all these loose ends at the top here. I'm going to pick a window that includes all those loose ends, and under Hydratec there's a button that says cap open ends. By default it adds 6 inches and puts the cap, so you can see the 6 inches in the cap, and I'm going to do that to the bottom ones here, 6 inches and a cap. And now I need a main, and this is 2 hours and 5 minutes into lesson 1. I'm going to type PI to start a pipe. I'm going to make it 4-inch in diameter. This is, you heard me talk about this before. I'm going to put it at 17 feet. I'm going to make sure that its main's welded, and I'm going to just check that the system type is fire protection wet. Then I'm going to start below column 3. I'm going to go across all those branch lines, head for the corner. Then I'm going to go down to 2 feet, and I'm going to go almost all the way to the corner. And then I'm going to go to -5 feet and change the pipe to underground. I think I had mains underground. I like that better. And I'll click out there and down there. Escape, escape, escape. I'm going to cap open ends, and that doesn't have an open end anymore. Okay, but my main is not connected to my branch lines yet, so there's a connect pipes with riser nipples. I'm going to connect to the main all of these pipes, and then I just have to pick finish, and it added riser nipples. Then I'll take this one and make it 6 inches long to a cap. Okay, quick show off. I'm going to go make a 3D view of that. And in Revit, if you click on a pipe, you hold shift down and push the wheel, you can do an orbit to look around in. The pipe that I picked is the center of that orbit. All right, I still got other things I want to do. I want to run a hydraulic calculation on this. So I'm going to need 1,500 square feet. There's an annotate button. You know, if I'm going to do a calculation, I should include some valves in here. Let me get them in there quick. I'm going to go to Hydratec, add device, and I'm going to put a backflow preventer in. This gives me access to like 12,000 valves and devices. There's backflows. There's a double check, simple double check, grooved. I'm going to use a Wilkins 350A and make it 4-inch. Select it and click on it. Then I'm going to put this out of the way for a second and go create a section so I can see the place for the riser. So up here is a button to create a section, 2 lines. And because that's an actual 3D model, that section now shows, I can just double click on that bubble. It shows that section. I'd like to see some AutoCAD background to go along with that. And I can go back to my insert and link CAD. And I had some section views in an AutoCAD drawing. This is only going to be for this section view. I don't want it floating around in all the rest of the model. So I'm going to say current view only. And I think it inserted, but I've got my view cropped so that I can only see that little area. There's those sections that came in. I have to unpin it. It's like it wants to stay there. My building is really over here. This time I'm going to move the section to match up with my building. So I'm going to use move, and I'm going to use the intersection of column A and the floor, and I'm going to go zoom over here to that column line and the floor. And now I've got that lining up. I'm going to go turn the crop back on so that I don't see all that other stuff. And the box around the outside is ugly, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay, and then in here, I'm going to put a butterfly valve. So I'll go get this back. I'll dismiss the backflows. I'm going to go to other valves, and I'm going to get a butterfly valve. Grooved. I'll get Victolic. They have one that's 4-inch. And if I wanted to see the cut sheet for that, I can just click on that button that says cut sheet. And that'll show me all the details on that bad boy. So I'm going to go ahead and use that and put that in there. Then this, and I'm going to quit there. I could put a shotgun riser or an alarm valve or something, but I think I've done enough to give you the idea here. So the valves were upside down. I could click on this and just change that orientation. Good. I need some couplings to connect those. So CP is a shortcut for getting couplings. I'm going to manually add a coupling above and below that guy, and I'm going to take him and stuff him over there. So I'm just going to put a coupling on this end. Now I want to clean that up. First thing I'm going to do is put this at 4 feet. And then I'm going to get rid of the pipe between those things. So there's a Hydratec button for delete pipe. and that lets me pick the valve and pick a fitting, pick the valve, pick a fitting, pick a fitting, pick the valve, pick a fitting, and it gets rid of the pipes in between. And while I'm at it, I don't need all that much space. I'll go ahead and move that over there. Okay, now we're going to run a calculation. So I'm going to go to the calculation menu. I should run setup. I'd like to measure out 1,500 square feet. The square root of 1,500 is 47 point something. So I want a rectangle that's at least 47 long in this direction. There's an annotate feature for region, and that region can be drawn as a rectangle, which I'm going to start right down here in this corner. And do you see the dimensions? I can drag that up until it's at least 47. And now that it's 46, there's halfway between, that's 49. I'm going to go over to 3 lines and finish that. So there's a rectangle that I hope is 1,500. No, it's not. It's 1,440. So I need another sprinkler. I'm going to pick up this sprinkler. So I'm going to edit the boundary. I'm going to take this edge and pull it down. I'm going to take this edge and pull it over. And then I'm going to add a line to get around that sprinkler. And then I'll finish. And now that thing is 1,570 square feet. So those are the sprinklers I need to calculate. If I go to Hydratec, there's 3 things you need to do a calculation. Operating heads, connected model, water supply point. Operating heads, connected model, water supply, gets you a calc. So we're going to do the operating heads by selecting a remote area there. And there's the 15 heads that I picked. I'm going to say that they're flowing, and I'm going to say that they're part of remote area 1. And the 7 and the 0.15 and the 130 are all good from before. So I'm going to apply that and finish. I'm going to just double check it. Yep, they're all part of remote area 1, and they're all flowing. There are 5 properties. If I could pick that sprinkler, there are 5 properties that have to get filled in, and we just did that using that thing: the density, the pressure, the area, the flowing, and the remote area. So you could fill them in there, or we could use this tool the way I just did. That's operating heads. Connected model is if I pick the walker and I click on a pipe, every pipe that's connected to it lights up selected, and sure enough, I've got every pipe selected. Then I need a water supply, and that's two definitions: the supply point, like where is it, so that's where the water supply is, and then defined supply is how much it is, and I'm going to give myself 55 static, 44 residual at 1,200 flowing, and a hose flow of 250. So there is, I'll use that walker again. And I'm going to start the calculation. So hydraulic calculations. It's going to be called Kickoff Demo. And it's going to be remote area 1. And I drew 4 different kinds of pipe. Welded branch arm overs to welded lines. That's going to use schedule 40, and it's going to be a branch line. Welded lines is going to be branch lines schedule 10. Welded mains is going to be FP mains welded. I want to be mains, and I want that to be schedule 10 and C120. And the underground pipe, I want to be underground, and I want that to be cement lined, or Blue Brute would do, and I can use C140. Okay, so I've defined the 4 kinds of pipe I used in Revit and the Hydratec pipe types that we're going to use for the calculations. I can pick OK, and that sets up to a spreadsheet that 57.2% of you are very, very familiar with. And I didn't ask what other calc program you were using, but this just specifies from node 1 to node 2, there's an 1.25 inch pipe 12 feet long, and it has a sprinkler head on it with a K factor of 5.6, a density, an area, and a pressure. So this detailed all of the pipes that are in the calculated area. I'm going to run a quick calc. It says that I have no diameter for the pipe between 10 and 11. Between 10 and 11, I've got 4-inch blue brute. Let me make that cement lined or something else. How about this guy? Does that have a diameter? It's still red. I'm going to try the calc. I still get yelled at about it. Okay, right click. If you're not going to find it here, I'm going to go to more and go find cement lined and then run a calc. I got 13 operating heads. I've got 24 feet of elevation change. Those are good sort of double checks. I'm 17 pounds under the curve. I could probably get away with some 3-inch, but I'm going to leave it. I'm under the curve. I'm good. I'm going to leave that. I will do a quick cover sheet. In here, I can specify all the information that goes on the NFPA cover sheet. Missing is the ordinary hazard group 1 and the coverage area and the remote area number. So I won't fill all of this stuff in, but I filled in enough that you can recognize when I get back to the calc, when I get back to the model, that information that I put in is represented here, including that safety margin. And we got all these reference points. I'll show you in class how we can make our own reference points, but we got them kind of for free for now. If I go to the section view, there's no reference points in here, but I can add a reference point, same reference point that shows up over here. That's something you can't do in Hydratec for AutoCAD so easily. Next, I want to put some pipe sizing on here. So I'm going to walker all of this pipe. And I'm going to tag pipes. So put pipe sizes on. I'll put center to center sizes on. I'm going to run a quick cleanup. And it's real tiny, but you can see, I think, that there's a dimension on those 0'6". Those are short enough that there was a cleanup automatic for it. This box here says that there's some stuff that can't quite be read, and it's just a reminder of that. If I click this guy and move it over there, now I can read that. And he's got one more reminder of that over here. I'm going to delete that one, and that maybe can get fixed the same way. Very nice. So I want to get ready to do a stock list for this. I've got only 2 minutes to do a stock list and put it on paper. I better get moving, huh? So let me go to stock listing and run the setup. The stock list needs couplings, so I'm going to go back and add couplings. I want the couplings every 21 feet. I don't want to get any closer than 4 inches to a pipe. I'm going to add couplings to the main. And then I'm going to add couplings to this long side of the branch line, and this one, and this one, and that 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 one. And I'm going to put couplings on that long cross main, and now I've got couplings. I need some hangers. I'm going to pick all of those pipes and go to the hangers. There's multiple ways to put hangers in. This is the quickest. I picked 98 pipes, and I'm going to put top beam clamp, riser, rod, and adjustable ring hanger. And the stock list is going to use the material for a top beam clamp, a rod, and a ring. I'm going to hang up to level 1 up to 20 feet above level 1. So every hanger will be long enough to go from the pipe up to 20 feet above the pipe. And I can think of one more hanger I want to put on here in this section view. I want to go back to hangers and put a, go to level 0 and put a pipe stand. And I want the pipe stand to use this material. And I pick OK and put a pipe stand there. Okay, to run the stock list, I need to run setup. I did that. I need to tell the list where to start numbering. I'm going to say start numbering down here. I don't want to list the underground, so I'm going to click on this elbow and tell it that's a system divider. That tells the walker then, when you pick on the walker, it selects everything up to and including that elbow, but it doesn't select the underground. And then I should be ready to run a stock list. In the stock listing, we have mapping similar to what we had in the hydraulics, but it's a little bit more detailed. So I'm going to say the mains, everything I drew with pipe type mains welded, I want to be listed as mains. Start them with section A and list them as firelock elbows and T's. Welded lines, everything I drew with lines welded, I want that to show up in the welded lines. I'm going to call that W01. The mains I'm going to call A, and then the threaded pipe I'm going to call L01, and anything I drew with arm overs to welded lines will get listed as threaded pipe. There's minimal hanger information to be set up, and then in here I can apply a wizard to change GRPOL to GOL. That's kind of a popular renaming of the standard for that. And now I've run the stock list, and in here I've got main A that's got a bunch of pieces that are just groove, and then I've got one with one groovelet, one with two groovelets, another one with two groovelets, one with three groovelets, and those groovelets are all pointing up, and they're called GOL because I use that wizard. The weld lines, there's two weld lines with those outlets, the 1-inch outlets pointing down for the flex drops there, and then W02 is the other 6 branch lines that have all the 1/2-inch outlets pointing up. My hangers include all those top beam clamp hangers and that pipe stand. And then under miscellaneous, I've got my couplings and elbows, and there's the backflow and the butterfly valve. So I'll close this. I'll return to Revit. That puts some very temporary marks that I'm going to leave those marks for right now, but it labels which one's weld line 1, which one's weld line 2. There's better marks I won't take the time to show just now. 3 minutes over, and I'm going to go for 2 more minutes because I want to go pull this all together. Show off that I can put dimensions easily. I can put above finished floor marks on, annotate above finished floor. I got to pull that over. There, that's our 19 feet. There's our 17 feet. This one's still 17 feet. I'm going to take that guy, move him over here. All right. And then I'm going to take this view and copy it. Duplicate that view with all that detailing on it. And then I'm going to take the original and apply a view template. This is like turning layers on and off, but the view template has that and 100 other things in it, but I want to prepare it for plotting. So I still have the original view that we had worked on before, and I have this new view that's set up for plotting. with line weights to show the mains and the lines and all that. Also, I want to make this pretty. I'm going to do the reverse of it. In AutoCAD, we had a button for pretty pipes. Here we have pretty sprinklers. The pipes used to get shorter to not go through the sprinklers. Now the sprinklers get opaque so that you can't see the pipes through them. And I just want to get some of those on a sheet, and then I'll come back up for air. So a sheet can be 24 by 36, 32 by 30 by 42. I'm going to take this one and rename it FP1. There we go. Call it FP1, and I'm going to call it FP Plans and Details. And then I can drag our floor plan onto that sheet. I've got a section view that we created. That was the section 2. I'm going to apply the plot scheme to that also, and then I'll take that and pull it onto this sheet. I've got a sprinkler schedule that I can pull on. I've got a 3D view under here. 3D view. That one's kind of good. Right now the scale is 6 inches equals a foot. That would take up a mile worth of paper. I'm going to crank it down to 1 inch equals 20. And then I'm going to go back to my sheet and drag that 3D view on just to show off a little bit. And then I want a hanger detail. I've got another sheet of details. So I can take my top beam clamp hanger detail and copy it to this sheet. I did Control C and Control V. I'm going to go one more and get the pipe stand. Control C, back here, Control V, and park that guy down there. All right. I do believe I'm going to not keep you guys any longer. I appreciate your attention this long. I will save this and send it out along with the recording, and just come up for air once more and see if there's anyone has questions. Obviously, you didn't need the tools installed for today, but we really need the tools for next Thursday. So make sure you do that confidence check, and make sure that all the buttons are there and ready to work. Any questions? Who was it said that they were willing, anxious to jump at the chance to drive? Who was that?
It was me, Dave.
Dave?
Yep.
You're on.
Yep.
Do you, let me take. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, but Dave, hang around for just a minute, and I'll get you to share your screen and just make sure that we know how to do that, and then double check that you're happy with your install and stuff, and we'll be good for Thursday.
Sounds good.
Everyone, thanks so much for being here this morning. I am really looking forward to working with you all. We'll keep this as interactive. I took over the whole stage this morning, but I promise I want to share the talking with everybody else on Thursday. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.